Today I step fully into a new reality. I do not wait for the world to confirm my wealth, for I know that life is a mirror reflecting the assumptions I hold within. I am no longer a seeker of riches. I am already the embodiment of abundance. From this moment, my consciousness dictates my world. Every thought, every feeling, every vibration I allow within me aligns perfectly with the life of a multimillionaire. I no longer ask, I assume. I no longer hope, I know. The universe does not argue with certainty. It bends effortlessly to the state I inhabit. Wealth is not something to be postponed, pursued, or earned in some distant future. It is not a goal to be achieved after years of struggle or planning. True wealth exists now, in the present moment, and it is yours the instant you fully embody it. To assume the state of wealth means to step into the consciousness of abundance and live as though the money, freedom, and luxury you desire are already inseparable aspects of your life. You do not look at the bank account, the investments, or the external circumstances as proof. Rather, you rely on the undeniable truth that your inner assumption creates the outer world. The mind cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality when your feelings are vivid and the body, heart, and senses align with the state you wish to inhabit. Every thought, every image, and every sensation must affirm the reality of your wealth. You see yourself in the life of a multimillionaire, and you do not postpone the satisfaction of this vision for tomorrow. From the moment you assume it, your actions, your words, and your decisions begin to reflect that identity naturally. There is no struggle in this state, because struggle belongs to the consciousness of lack, not abundance. As you live each day feeling as if your financial desires are already fulfilled, circumstances begin to rearrange themselves to match your internal state. Opportunities appear not by chance, but as a direct response to the certainty you radiate. People, ideas, and resources flow toward you because you no longer approach life with uncertainty or need. Instead, you operate from the absolute knowledge that your wealth exists now. You carry yourself with the confidence, poise, and ease of someone who has always been rich, and in doing so, the world cannot deny the reality you have assumed. Even if the external world shows temporary evidence of scarcity, you do not falter because the outer world is only the echo of the inner. You do not wait for validation. You know that your present state of consciousness is the blueprint for everything that will manifest. Living in this state does not require evidence or logic. It requires only the unwavering feeling of truth that wealth is yours. B. The complete mental surrender to the identity you wish to embody, and the persistence to remain in that state without distraction or doubt. Every decision, no matter how small, becomes guided by the perspective of abundance rather than limitation. Your relationships, your work, your choices, and even your leisure begin to reflect the identity of someone who already possesses all the wealth they could imagine. There is a quiet power in this assumption, a magnetic force that draws circumstances and experiences in perfect alignment with your inner reality. The more fully you inhabit the consciousness of wealth, the faster the outer world conforms, until eventually material proof becomes inevitable. The key is not in forcing the world to match you, but in refusing to leave the state you have assumed. Wealth is not distant, it is a living, breathing part of who you are from this very moment. By living as if you are already a multimillionaire, you are planting the seed that will sprout into tangible riches, abundant opportunities, and the effortless life you've always imagined. To assume the state of wealth now is to know, beyond any shadow of doubt, that your inner reality is the only reality that matters, and that reality fully embodied creates everything that surrounds you. Your inner state is the true architect of your life. Everything you experience externally is a reflection of the assumptions, beliefs, and feelings you carry within. Life does not happen to you randomly, nor is it controlled by circumstance or chance. It responds perfectly and inevitably to the consciousness you maintain. Every person, event, and situation in your world is a mirror of what you have assumed as true in your own mind. When you dwell in doubt, fear, or lack, your world shows evidence of struggle, limitation, and obstacles. When you dwell in confidence, abundance, and certainty, your world responds with opportunities, wealth, and effortless alignment. This is not a theory, it is the law by which life operates. To change your outer world, you do not need to chase or manipulate events. You need only to change your inner state. The mind and imagination are infinitely powerful, and the feelings you entertain, the mental images you persist in, and the identity you accept as your own shape every experience you encounter. Each thought acts as a seed, and each assumption determines the harvest you reap. If you assume poverty, limitation, or failure, you unconsciously design a life that will prove that assumption correct. Conversely, if you assume wealth, health, and fulfillment, you magnetize circumstances that conform to those inner realities. This is why so many people struggle externally despite effort. They are working against their own inner state, attempting to force results, while their consciousness insists on something else. True creation occurs internally first. The outer world is merely a stage upon which your internal beliefs play out. As you refine and elevate your consciousness, holding steadfast to the feeling of already having what you desire, your reality naturally transforms to match it. Opportunities appear effortlessly, resources align perfectly, and people come into your life exactly when needed, all reflecting the inner world you have established. Nothing can resist the clarity and certainty of a mind that fully embodies its assumption. You do not need to convince the world or manipulate conditions. The world bends of its own accord to mirror your inner state. Every circumstance that arises can be used as confirmation that your assumptions are taking form or as a signal to adjust your inner state. The key is to remain vigilant over your thoughts and feelings, consciously choosing those that reflect the reality you wish to experience. For every careless assumption leaves its mark upon your life. Life is never chaotic, it is always deliberate, precise, and true to the state of consciousness within you. By consistently living in the assumption of what you desire, wealth, health, love, or success, you are aligning the inner and outer worlds so that manifestation becomes inevitable. The universe does not favor struggle, fear, or doubt. It responds only to the living reality you carry in your mind and heart. When you truly understand that consciousness creates reality, you recognize that every external change begins within. By maintaining the inner feeling of your fulfilled desires, by imagining and believing fully in the reality you wish to experience, you are not dreaming, you are creating. This is the power that shapes empires, lives of abundance, and worlds of opportunity. Your imagination, your assumptions, and your inner state are the only tools needed to shape the life you truly want. The outer world is a mirror, nothing more and nothing less, reflecting exactly what you live as within yourself. When you act from this understanding, life ceases to be a struggle and creation becomes effortless, joyful, and immediate. For your consciousness has become the fertile soil in which every dream, every vision, and every desire grows into tangible, undeniable reality. True abundance is not something to be pursued through struggle, effort, or the constant seeking of external validation. It is a state to be felt deeply within, a reality to be lived and experienced from the inside out. The mind often believes that wealth, success, and fulfillment are waiting somewhere in the external world to be obtained after long hours of work, endless planning, or favorable circumstances. But this is the illusion of the outer senses. Reality begins not with action, but with feeling. The feeling of having, the sensation of already being, is the unshakable foundation upon which all prosperity manifests. To chase wealth externally is to attempt to build on a shifting, unreliable foundation. To feel it internally is to construct life on solid rock. When you inhabit the state of abundance now, you are no longer a seeker. You are a magnet for everything you desire. The world is drawn to your energy, responding naturally to the frequency you emit. You must learn to dwell in the emotion of already possessing the life you imagine. Luxury, comfort, freedom, and financial security are not rewards to be earned. They are expressions of the state you occupy within. Imagine for a moment that every dollar, every opportunity, every manifestation of wealth has already been placed into your life. Feel it. Sense the ease, the joy, the confidence that flows from this awareness. Let this feeling permeate your body, your thoughts, you. Raw every action. As you cultivate it, your external world will begin to conform, not because you chase, but because your inner reality insists upon it. There is a law in creation. Feeling precedes form. Everything you experience externally is a response to what you entertain internally. If you act from a state of lack, your reality mirrors struggle. If you act from a state of abundance, your reality mirrors plenty. This is why the truly wealthy do not chase, hustle, or plead for resources. They live as if everything they desire is already theirs, and the world responds accordingly. The energy of possession, of having, of being enough, carries a magnetic power that draws circumstances, people, and opportunities into alignment with your internal state. To feel, not chase, means to stop trying to manipulate life, stop bargaining with the universe, and stop depending on proof outside yourself. It is to anchor yourself in the certainty of what is already true in your consciousness. Every thought and action then flows naturally, inspired by the knowing that abundance is your essence, not your pursuit. When you feel wealthy, you no longer wait for confirmation from your bank account, your job, or the world around you. You are already the millionaire, the successful entrepreneur, the person living freely, and your life begins to reflect this inner truth in miraculous and effortless ways. The more you dwell in the feeling, the less external chasing is required, and the faster the outer circumstances align. This is the secret. Abundance is not something to hunt down, it is something to recognize and embody. It is the feeling that precedes, the assumption that commands, and the internal certainty that creates. By shifting focus from the chase to the inner experience, you place yourself in the current of effortless manifestation, where wealth flows naturally, opportunities appear as spontaneously, and life mirrors the rich, fulfilled, and secure state you maintain within. The outer world cannot resist the inner feeling, and when you feel, you no longer need to chase. Everything you desire is drawn to the vibration of your consciousness, proving again and again that true abundance is always felt, never sought. True power in creation lies not in hope, not in wishful thinking, and not in asking for what you desire, but in the unwavering certainty that what you imagine is already yours. Hope is the vibration of lack, the trembling expectation that something might come to you in the future. It carries with it doubt, delay, and uncertainty. When you hope, you are saying to the universe that you are not yet in possession, that your current state is insufficient, and that fulfillment is somewhere beyond your present grasp. This is why hoping rarely produces results. The outer world cannot reflect a truth you have not fully assumed. To stop hoping and begin knowing is to take your place as the master of your own reality. Certainty is the unshakable assumption that your desires exist in the present moment, that wealth, freedom, and success are not distant or pending, but are already inseparable parts of your life. When you act from this certainty, the universe does not resist. It bends effortlessly to your state. You no longer need to negotiate, persuade, or strive. Life responds to the reality you carry within. Every action you take flows from a sense of having, not from a sense of needing. Your words, your thoughts, and your gestures are imbued with the confidence of someone who is already wealthy. And this energy cannot fail to attract circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with it. To assume certainty is to embody the life you desire so fully that there is no room for doubt, no space for fear, and no need for proof. You see yourself in you. Imagined state. Feel yourself living as the person you wish to be and know beyond any question that this is your truth. The outer world then mirrors this inner reality, reflecting abundance, ease, and prosperity in ways that appear almost magical. The universe responds not to your asking, bargaining, or hoping, but to the immovable conviction of your consciousness. The more you dwell in certainty, the faster your external reality aligns, and the more effortless your manifestations become. This certainty acts as a magnetic field, drawing everything necessary for your fulfillment directly to you. Even when the senses present evidence to the contrary, you remain unmoved, for you are anchored in the inner knowledge that what you desire is already accomplished. Doubt, fear, and lack are simply signals to return to the feeling of your imagined state, to reaffirm your certainty. Every external circumstance is merely an echo, a temporary reflection of previous assumptions, and holds no power over the reality you now inhabit. By fully assuming the state of wealth, you eliminate hesitation and hesitation's offspring, worry from your life. Certainty does not depend on conditions. It exists independent of proof, external validation, or timing. It is a living, breathing conviction that commands life to conform effortlessly and completely. Those who master certainty know that they need not struggle, wait, or chase, for the universe moves to meet the mind that is fixed, unwavering, and fully alive in the feeling of already having. When you replace hope with certainty, you step into the energy of creation itself, and the life of abundance you have imagined unfolds naturally around you, perfectly timed and perfectly aligned, proving again and again that knowing is infinitely more powerful than hoping, and that certainty is the key that unlocks the doors of wealth, freedom, and effortless manifestation. When you align your consciousness fully with abundance, you no longer need to struggle, chase, or manipulate the world to create opportunities. They begin to flow effortlessly toward you because life always mirrors the state of mind you inhabit. The universe does not respond to frantic effort, anxiety, or longing. It responds to certainty, ease, and the feeling of already having what you desire. When you carry the consciousness of wealth, success, and fulfillment, circumstances naturally organize themselves to match that state, and people, resources, and opportunities gravitate toward you without force or persuasion. You find that doors you never imagined open spontaneously, that ideas appear as if by magic, and that helpful connections emerge from seemingly nowhere, all because your inner reality demands their existence. Life has a perfect intelligence, and it is always arranging itself in accordance with your dominant assumptions. When your mind vibrates with abundance, it emits an irresistible frequency that attracts everything needed to sustain and expand your prosperity. There is no need to plan or worry about timing, scarcity, or competition. The flow of opportunity comes because you have placed yourself in alignment with the source of creation itself. This alignment begins internally. with the cultivation of the feeling that all you desire is already yours. As you dwell in this feeling, your actions become inspired, natural, and effortless, and the world responds accordingly. You may notice synchronistic events, chance encounters, or sudden insights that seem to accelerate your progress. But these are not coincidences. They are the natural response of the universe to your inner state. The more fully you inhabit the consciousness of abundance, the more your environment mirrors it, until you experience a life in which wealth, opportunities, and resources appear continuously as a reflection of your inner certainty. This flow is automatic. It does not require struggle, competition, or persuasion because the energy of abundance is magnetic. People are drawn to you, not because you convince them or work hard to impress, but because your state of consciousness radiates the authority of already having. Doors that were once closed now open effortlessly, and situations that seemed impossible resolve naturally simply because you are aligned with the frequency of abundance. Even challenges that arise are now experienced differently. They are no longer obstacles, but stepping stones, reflections of your assumptions adjusting to match the life you hold within. The secret is to maintain focus on the feeling of fulfillment and to avoid the temptation to measure progress by external appearances alone. Opportunities do not need to be sought. They exist in infinite supply, ready to enter your life the moment you embody the state for which they are designed. The universe responds to your certainty, your ease, and the clarity of your inner vision, supplying the people, resources, and circumstances that make your success inevitable. There is no rush, no struggle, and no need for desperation when you trust in the natural flow of opportunity that follows from your aligned consciousness. Life becomes a continuous unfolding of abundance, and every step you take is supported by unseen forces working in perfect harmony to bring your inner reality into expression. By living as if every opportunity you desire is already yours, you create a life in which doors open naturally. People gravitate toward your energy. People gravitate toward your energy. And resources arrive in perfect timing, proving that alignment with abundance is the only requirement for effortless manifestation. Your outer life is nothing more than the reflection of the identity you assume within. Health, luxury, freedom, and prosperity are not distant achievements to be earned. They are natural extensions of the consciousness you inhabit. The world around you cannot rise above the state of being you carry internally, and every circumstance, relationship, and opportunity mirrors the assumptions you hold as true. When you embody the identity of a wealthy, successful, and fulfilled person, life immediately conforms to that identity. You do not wait for bank accounts to grow, contracts to be signed, or promotions to arrive. Instead, you carry the feeling of already having these things as a living reality, and the external world bends to match it. Identity is the soil in which all manifestations grow. If you plant the seeds of doubt, struggle, or lack, the harvest will reflect scarcity. But if you plant the seeds of confidence, opulence, and certainty, abundance appears naturally, effortlessly, and continuously. To live as the person you desire to be, is to claim your wealth, freedom, and prosperity before the outer evidence is visible. Every action you take flows from the awareness of who you are and in turn shapes the experiences that surround you. Luxury is not something you acquire through effort alone. It is the natural reflection of a consciousness that recognizes itself as deserving, already rich, and completely free. Freedom is not earned through struggle. It emerges as a consequence of living in the assumption of abundance where your mind is untroubled, your energy is confident, and your choices flow naturally from inner clarity. Prosperity is not the result of chasing opportunities outside yourself, but of recognizing that your inner reality produces all conditions necessary for its expression. When you fully inhabit the identity of someone who has already achieved their desires, even seemingly impossible opportunities appear as natural extensions of that state, and challenges are no longer obstacles, but confirmations that your consciousness is reshaping life in alignment with your assumptions. Your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors all become the reflection of this assumed identity, and the world responds accordingly. You notice how effortlessly doors open, people gravitate toward your energy, and resources appear in perfect timing, all because your identity dictates your outer reality. There is no separation between who you are internally and what you experience externally. The two are one and the same. By dwelling consistently in the consciousness of wealth, freedom, and abundance, you are no longer hoping for change. You are the change itself, and life conforms naturally to the state you maintain. Even temporary circumstances that appear contrary to your assumptions hold no power over you, for your inner identity is immovable, and the world must adjust to it. Every gesture, every decision, and every thought aligns with the person you have assumed yourself to be, and external reality reflects that without effort or persuasion. This is the secret of effortless creation. The life you desire does not have to be chased. It is already within you, waiting to be reflected outward as soon as you recognize yourself as its natural possessor. Luxury, freedom, and prosperity are not prizes to be won. They are your birthright as the conscious creator of your life. And by fully assuming the identity of someone who already possesses them, you allow the world to respond to the undeniable truth of who you are, turning imagination into reality, thought into form, and inner certainty into outer abundance. From this moment onward, your life itself becomes the living proof of the abundance you embody, for every thought you think, every feeling you nurture, and every action you take reflects the inner reality of your multimillionaire state. You are. We no longer waiting for external confirmation, bank balances, or opportunities to validate your worth. Instead, the truth of your consciousness expresses itself through every aspect of your existence. Each day, you move with the assurance and poise of someone who has always been wealthy, confident, and fulfilled, and the outer world mirrors this effortlessly. Your environment, your relationships, your work, and even seemingly ordinary experiences become evidence of the reality you hold within. You understand that life is not a series of random events, but a precise reflection of your inner assumptions. And by maintaining the feeling of abundance, and by maintaining the feeling of abundance, you are orchestrating every circumstance to align with your imagined life. You do not need to force results, manipulate people, or chase success, for your consciousness is magnetic, drawing the perfect conditions, opportunities, and resources into your sphere. Even when temporary challenges appear, you perceive them differently. They are not obstacles, but indicators that your inner state is being tested, strengthened, and refined. And your unwavering assumption ensures that the outer manifestation remains inevitable. Every decision you make is guided by the knowing of your wealth. Every action arises from a foundation of certainty, and every interaction is infused with the energy of your imagined state. This living proof does not depend on evidence outside yourself. It exists because you feel, assume, and persist in the state of abundance. Your body carries the confidence of someone who has arrived. Your mind reflects clarity and focus, and your heart radiates gratitude for what is already yours. Others may measure success externally, but you understand that the ultimate measure of wealth and fulfillment is the inner reality that precedes and shapes all outer circumstances. By consistently embodying your multi-millionaire self, F, you turn your life into a mirror, showing the world the undeniable fact that wealth, freedom, and prosperity are already present in your being. You notice that circumstances shift in your favor. Doors open effortlessly, and people and opportunities are drawn to you naturally, all because your consciousness has become the standard of reality. Each thought you hold, whether of creativity, confidence, or gratitude, becomes a blueprint for external experiences, and each feeling of certainty, ease, and abundance accelerates the manifestation of your desires. You no longer live in the future, waiting for proof. You live in the present, where your inner reality is already tangible, active, and undeniable. The richness of your imagination, combined with the unwavering feeling of having, produces tangible results, and your life becomes a living testimony to the power of consciousness. By sustaining this state, you are the proof, the demonstration, and the embodiment of abundance itself, showing that wealth is not a pursuit, but a recognition, not an achievement, but a reflection of your assumed state. Every day, every moment, and every breath confirms your multimillionaire identity, turning your inner certainty into outer evidence, and your life into a continual unfolding of abundance, joy, freedom, and limitless possibility. From this moment, you are no longer aspiring, you are living proof. Every thought, every feeling, and every action manifests the reality you have assumed, and the universe, in perfect alignment, reflects it back to you without fail. From this moment onward, you no longer wait for life to grant you wealth. You are the living proof of abundance itself. Every thought you think, every feeling you nurture, and every action you take reflects the reality of your multimillionaire state. The world around you bends effortlessly to the certainty you carry within. Up. Opening doors, aligning opportunities, and drawing resources naturally into your life. There is no struggle, no lack, and no delay, for abundance flows to you as a natural consequence of your inner assumption. Luxury, freedom, and prosperity are no longer distant dreams. They are your present reality, expressions of the consciousness you fully inhabit. By living, thinking, and feeling as a multimillionaire now, you command the universe to mirror your inner truth, and your life becomes a continuous reflection of limitless wealth, unshakable confidence, and effortless manifestation. You are not aspiring, you are already fully, infinitely abundant.